Oh, YouTube! Don't you dare be sour! Clap for your world-famous podcast champs and feel the power!
The fuck?
What? What the fuck?
Big E became WWE champion.
Oh, okay.
Been waiting to do that for about 3 years. So yes, this is not a wrestling podcast. This is Doctor Who.
I kind of wish it were.
Yeah, I kind of wish it were too. This is Doctor Who Reviews, and we are looking at the second part of Trial of a Time Lord, Mindwarp, and we probably shouldn't have bothered.
Says you.
My defense is twofold here, a bit like the Doctors in this story. One, I hadn't seen it before, and two, we do have to cover the trial eventually.
Well, I can say it for at least one thing. You know that point in a very famous video by one Freezing Inferno called Tacky?
What? Oh, God.
There's a part where the Doctor's like, having this fit against, like wearing this sort of helmet, and now I finally know what it's from.
I don't believe it. Okay. I had the exact same reaction. Like, oh yeah, that's where that clip's from.
For those who want to watch this video, it's down in the description page.
So yes, I will be putting a link to the Tacky music video, and I'll also link to the reviews we've done for Mysterious Planet and Terror of the Vervoids, parts 1 and 3 of the trial respectively, because they are important. They are very important to this.
Asshole made that.
So yeah, to talk about Mindwarp against the better judgment, I'm joined by my two unusual co-hosts. Firstly, to my virtual left, one pill makes you larger, one pill makes you small, and the ones that Mother gives you make him constantly talk about mirrors. It's Freezing Inferno.
I'll allow this when she's 10 feet tall.
I cannot believe...
You better have a very damn good one for me, because now I'm mad that you wasted that on Frez.
Yeah, you gave me the Alice one. Why didn't you give Kat the Alice one?
Because that wasn't... Yeah, all right. Well, hopefully this will make up for it. And to my virtual right, it's just a jump to the left and a step to the right. Let's do the Mind Warp again. It's Concave Usurper, better known as Cat.
You know, Frez, I have a feeling that what he should have done was mirror that and instead give me yours and you mine.
Maybe.
It started.
Mirror that? Why, I think that calls for a...
Hang on, I have to actually
No, it doesn't.
Doctor Who Mirror Alert. Doctor Who Mirror Alert.
You know I'm just going to edit that out, right?
The next time Brainiac plays Super Metroid, he's going to have a PTSD attack.
You did. I'm just going to edit that out, right?
His parents are going to be like, what's that strange sound? Go up to his room, and he's just going to be sitting on his bed. The mirrors can't hurt you. The mirrors can't hurt you.
The mirrors are inside the house.
And here I was thinking we get away with not playing that clip because there's actually very few mirror alerts opportunities in this story.
Radiac.
The one that you sent him.
Have you not learned at this point? Where I was going to get that clip in here.
Yeah, exactly. Even when it doesn't matter, I'm still going to find a way to play it.
So Mind Warp. I don't really have any behind-the-scenes history behind it. It's just the second part of the trial, written by Philip Martin, who wrote the previous seasons, Vengeance on Varos, which many consider the best Colin Baker story on TV.
Which I haven't seen.
Varos is it's fine. It's pretty interesting.
I think you'd like Varos. It's got some nice political intrigue to it. It's got some good performances. Colin Baker is not too antagonistic towards Perry. That's important.
It's a decent story, yeah. So
some say it's a classic.
Some say it's a classic. That's a great callback. That's a good joke.
See, I hope that everybody says it's a classic because Colin Baker is a classic in and of himself. So, naturally, by just appearing in it, everything he's in is a classic.
Well, maybe not Mindwarp. I didn't care for revisiting Mindwarp, as we'll discuss.
It was interesting.
Yeah, I had never seen this one before, and I wish the pleasure had been indefinitely postponed, because what the hell?
I remember, back when I used to rewatch it when I watched the trial, I'd think, oh, this is a fine story. But when I delved deeper and really thought about it, it's like, oh, wait, there's some actual fucked up bullshit in here. I'm not just talking about the obvious.
It's extremely dark.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when you think that the Colin Baker era was basically ended because it was too dark and violent, and this was their answer to it.
That kind of gets into a little of the issue with the story, but let's get into it.
Okay, so we begin with the awesome model shot from Mysterious Planet returning.
Yeah, so if you haven't listened to the Mysterious Planet podcast, here's your brief previously on for the trial of the Time Lord. The Doctor has been summoned to a space station by the Time Lords, and he's being put on trial for meddling and interfering with other planets and whatnot. His opponent being the Chief Prosecutor of the Valyard and the Inquisitor who's holding the trial. So previously we had the Doctor's involvement on the planet Ravalox, and it became clear that there were some sort of Time Lord secrets involved in this particular adventure. And now we're getting to the Valyard's Exhibit B, which is the last adventure the Doctor had before he was summoned here to go on trial.
Which, oh, dang.
Yes.
That's interesting.
And right away you can see that the program, it's almost reacting to itself, but it's in a weird way. Because basically from the first thing, one of the flaws that people have pointed out in Mysterious Planet is the way the Doctor mocks the Valyard with cheap puns. Brickyard, scrapyard, junkyard, blah, blah, blah. And they basically, right at the top of this story, say, Doctor, you will refrain from that shit for the duration of this inquiry.
Thank God.
So,
yeah, once again, just like Terror of the Vervoids, even though I actually got the trial scenes this time, yay, they don't really add a whole lot to it. There are some that do, but most of them are just, I object to this. I don't care that you object to this. Sit down.
We are at a disadvantage. We're reviewing them as individual stories, and not the trial as a whole.
Even so,
I'd say if anything, maybe when we do the last parts of the trial, then maybe we'll do like a whole rewatch, or at the very least, I will do a whole rewatch. I won't subject you to.
I was going to say that's a big promise you're making for me.
I'll do a rewatch of the whole thing to get it all in perspective.
Very well. So, either way, we come to Exhibit B of the prosecution, the adventure the Doctor was on when he was summoned. But the Doctor's like, excuse me, what about all that unanswered bullshit from the last piece of evidence? The Time Lord secrets and all the censoring of the Matrix and all that. And they're like, that's not relevant to this presentation. Don't ask about that for another 8 weeks. We'll deal with that shit. So,
Grunko, do not ask about the secret ingredient.
The adventure the Doctor had is on the planet Thoros Beta in the 24th century. And this is actually kind of a nice little atmospheric video trickery they do here. Where they use video effects to make it look like an alien planet. There's blue rocks against the ocean, a pink sea, and a green sky.
I was going to say, this is clearly like a British cliff area. But they put a light filter on it, so the sky is green, the mountains are blue, white, the water is pink. It certainly looks striking.
And there's a great big planet on the horizon with Saturnine rings around it.
It interferes with the actors' costumes a bit, but it's interesting. It's vivid.
They're clearly trying to add some visual flair. I'll give it to them. I'll give Mindwarp that.
Yeah, and
I also like how they told him stay in the TARDIS for a bit so it doesn't interfere with your costumes while we green screen the heck out of this stuff.
Yeah.
Perry goes back to get her galoshes
because the TARDIS has landed like a couple feet out from the beach. So
it's in a puddle.
It's knee deep, so they're knee deep in the ocean.
Yeah, galoshes wouldn't help with that. Galoshes cover your feet.
The doctor gives no fucks. He just hops in and it's just like, well, I care about ruining this outfit. This really looks like a disaster.
And Perry
Excuse me?
Sorry.
It does not look like a disaster. What are you talking about?
I took the cheap shot once. One
Yeah.
cheap shot about the coat. That's...
So Perry. Furious typing's going on. So Perry.
What? No, I'm fine.
She foreshadows something that happens later on in the story when she says that she doesn't like the pink water. This is both foreshadowing and telling us all that she had a bad experience at Chemical Plant Zone when she was a child.
Yeah.
And who can blame her, because that is terrifying.
What, the pink water or Chemical Plant Zone?
Well, drowning in Chemical Plant Zone's pink water, but...
Well, yeah. And here's where Mindwarp starts doing a thing that will annoy me later. It's poking at its own foibles, so to speak. It's being self-aware, shall we say. Because we get the scene where they land and they're like, oh, I better get my galoshes, and they go off. And then we cut back to the courtroom, and they're basically like, why are you submitting this inconsequential silliness as evidence? And the fellow was like, oh, my bad. Let me jump to a more relevant segment. And it's like, oh, look at us! We're poking fun at how the trial interrupts itself for nonsense. Oh, what meta-commentary. Except you're doing it sincerely.
Oh, look at us, we have to eat.
Yeah, Philip Martin's got to eat, but we're gonna dig into that a lot deeper, and I'm going to complain very strongly much later in the story, but we'll let that slide. So the Doctor and Perry are on the beach now because they're investigating laser beams which have been made here, laser weapons.
Fucking lasers, Jerry.
Lasers. My God, you have a button for that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I do.
Have you not learned she has a button for everything at this point?
A meme for everything.
The only thing I don't have a button for is just a dog barking. I've got a wolf howl, but I don't have a dog bark.
I mean, the wolf howl's going to be useful in a bit, but...
Hit that button.
Yeah, sure. Bye, Back to the 11th Hour by Krista McTeague.
Bitch! I was gonna do it!
I know you were.
Damn it!
And I knew she was going to beat you to it, so I just stayed here in silence and just watched the car crash happen.
You! Ooh.
I just walked up to
Unlike the book, which is not a car crash. It's fantastic. Go buy it.
I'm not saying the book's a car crash, but I just walked up to the burning wreckage and warmed my hands on the flames.
Anyway, the Doctor melts the rock, and he mentions that the Warlord of Thornton gave him a clue about the whole laser weapons being built here. Perry implies that he was a perverted lecher to her.
Unfortunately, kind of a theme with Perry.
Yeah.
I find her pleasing.
Pleasing. That's going to be a running theme in this story for sure. The Doctor also has a pretty good line about advanced culture manipulating the destiny of a less advanced civilization and how they must be stopped. And that prompts a cut to the Valyard because the Doctor's like, oh, we gotta stop him. Who else is there? And the Valyard's like, who else is there? Your words condemn you, Doctor, you arrogant man. Ooh. Again, this is basically what the trial does. Every 5 minutes it cuts away and says, that comment was very prescient on how bad you are, Doctor.
Yeah.
Basically.
See, maybe now that we've done about 3 of these, like pretty much almost the entirety of the trial, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Maybe you can explain something to me.
Mm-hmm.
Why do the Time Lords give a fuck about what the Doctor is doing?
Because they're all not... because non-interference policy?
Yeah.
Yeah, but why would they give a fuck?
Because the plot demands it, I guess.
Plot demands it, and also there's some bullshit involving the mysterious planet plot threads.
You do make a good point, though, in that a lot of this is just unnecessary.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is the 6th Doctor. There have been like hundreds of years, and he's been on hundreds of adventures, possibly more than hundreds, maybe thousands. Who knows at this point? There's a lot of serials,
Yeah.
but it's like you think at one point they'd just be like, why do we care? Why would we care about this guy? We haven't stopped him before. We stopped him once. We trapped him on Earth, and then he got off. Do you really think we're going to do that much to him?
Well, to be fair, they let him off at that previous juncture.
Yeah.
And then at some point, he turned into this really amazing lady named Ruth. And it's like, how are we going to touch that? Seriously, that was awesome.
Oh, Chibnall.
Yeah. Anyway, some action finally happens after about 5 minutes, where Perry goes into a cave. She's immediately grabbed by a green hand belonging to an alien called the Rock. Yes, by God King, it's the Rock. I get it.
How many wrestling jokes can Brain make in this podcast?
Oh, come on, that was wide open.
It
was either that or talk about a Sean Connery Nicolas Cage film that's on today. So that is on TV.
So, Valyard critique number 3, the Doctor is struggling with this rock and accidentally fires off the laser and kills it, and, we cut to the trial. Oh, look, another senseless murder, Doctor. Tut, tut, tut.
Oh, look, Doctor, you're now stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Oh, my God.
Hit the rim shot.
It's got to the point now where I'm expecting those bad jokes, so I've just kept that clip of the monkey on my editing board.
I'm not apologizing, Polly. This one's for you.
Happy birthday, Polly, by the way.
Yes, happy birthday, Polly.
Oh, happy birthday. I'll give you the gift of puns.
Yeah.
2 days late, but or 3 days late, but yes.
Well, it's your birthday as we're recording it, so happy birthday.
Insert number of days late here, late.
Happy birthday, much love. Please come on the podcast to discuss Aliens, the London World War III.
Oh God.
Do I have anything for birthdays on here?
I don't think I could take that many puns in that short a space of time.
Oh my God.
If we get pulled on it to discuss World War III here to London. And now I've said that, it's absolutely going to happen at some point, isn't it? Anyway.
I mean, Kat's going to link this section of the podcast to Polly and be like, hey, get on our show! This is your invite!
The Doctor protests that the phaser, the weapon, discharged accidentally, and he didn't mean to kill the creature, and he says, so you can't possibly take that as evidence of my guilt. Oh, don't worry, Doctor, there's more to come. Oh my God.
Yeah. God. So the Doctor's
what we call a weird section, because I still don't understand. Like later on, they make this whole faff about, did he shoot it first? Did the monster attack them? There's no way the monster attacked them. That's impossible. But if the monster did attack them, then blah blah blah. And it's like they spend a whole bunch of time on this one tiny little scene. It's like, okay.
Wow.
Well,
I get writers got to eat, but
it's almost like it's not a very good script.
Well, that bit, the question of whether the Rock actually hostilely attacked or not is key to the one of the antagonists' scientific endeavors. So that's
but it just feels like they spent a little too much time on it, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So
especially
the
if you
Doctor
don't know exactly what it's for.
So the Doctor's investigating the technology that's around for fiddling with the tides, all while a fucking alarm is going off, and Perry is like, Doctor, we should go.
An alarm's going off.
Oh!
Doctor Who, near alert. Doctor Who, near alert.
Yeah,
I couldn't resist.
Thank
I
you.
couldn't resist.
And
Well, actually, that is a complete lie. I could have resisted.
And
but
the
I didn't
worst
want
part
to.
is, I can't edit that one out.
before they can leave, I mean, by the time the Doctor decides, okay, yeah, we should leave. There's guards, and they're like, "What are you guys doing here? What did you do to the Rock?" and they mention someone named Crozier, and the doctor's like bluffing. Oh, yeah, we're pals of Crozier. We're here to see him. Yeah, totally.
They say good old Crozier's like, well, Crozier's quite young. Oh, good young Crozier then.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that scene later, but we do actually see Crozier in his lab. And hey, who's that he's got on the slab?
That is the guest star for this episode. The one, the only Mr. Brian Blessed.
I think you have to say his name like, and this is probably going to peak, I'm 90% sure. Brian Blessed!
No, I heard most of that.
End of Brian.
I heard most of that.
At the end of Brian, but everything else we could hear.
Yeah.
And his first line of dialogue is to hiss like an angry cat.
We'll be talking about Brian Blessed.
Oh, we'll be fawning over Brian Blessed later on.
But for now, he's getting, for lack of a better term...
He really is the national treasure.
I told you.
For lack of a better term, he's getting brain blasted here by Crozier in his lab. And this is an attempt to pacify him, because Brian Blessed is playing an angry, loud, shouty warrior. What a surprise!
I'm shocked.
This is literally a retread of his character, Prince Volton from Flash Gordon.
As I said to Chris, Brian Blessed has 2 volumes, loud and louder.
Yes,
you're not wrong.
He could have farted that in.
Also, can I just say, I don't know if we're ever going to harp on this, but just his outfit.
Yeah.
What is with that outfit?
Samurai.
Yeah, but it for a second I thought he was Genghis Khan or something.
Yeah,
but then it turned out he was not.
The helmet is a samurai helmet, but I suppose it could be like an ancient Asian warlord get-up as well.
Uh-huh.
But he's just like left
very interesting.
For the time being. He doesn't get to do right lot because he's just being experimented on in the laboratory. Meanwhile,
there's a scene. This is a great scene.
Yeah.
So this is what, as you said earlier, the doctor mentions, oh, it'll be great to see good old Crozier again, and the guard's like, but Crozier's not an old man. Maybe you should tell me what he looks like. The doctor's grand cover for this is, oh, the rock moved. We should probably examine him. The rock's dead. No, it's not. Here, look. Here, I'm a doctor. I know what I'm doing. Nurse, come attend to me.
He gets the best line here.
Let's perform the skedaddle test. And Perry's like, Doctor, are you sure that's a good idea? Oh, yes, I know what I'm doing. Okay, come over with me here. All right. And she gets right next to the doctor, and he's like, okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. And
they throw the body over.
And
run away.
Said the writing was bad.
I said some of the writing was bad.
How dare you? Okay, there are glimmers of good in the script. I'll tell you that.
That's a funny bit.
That's a funny bit.
Anyway, the chief guard is called Frax, and he says, oh, let them go. There's nothing but the Lycosa down there. We'll be carrying up their bodies in a few minutes.
What's the Lycosa? Oh, no, what's that?
Can't hit the button. So this is a wolfman. This is the Lycosa. We find out his real name later on. But for now, he is similar. He's going between being ferocious and being needy. Like he sort of claws at Perry, but then he starts whining like a dog and asking for help. And Perry wants to help him because Perry is quite a kind person by nature.
But before they can help, a procession is walking through these dark caves.
Oh, God.
Oh, no! Who's that?
It's Bulbasaur!
No. Syl is definitely poison type.
No, trust me, it's Bulbasaur. Because something fun that I found out is, have either of you two heard about the Eurozone?
I lived in it until 2016.
Well, apparently, there's like this home video called Syl and the Devil Seeds of Eridor.
Oh no!
Oh my god.
Now, I don't know a whole lot about this. But apparently there is a thing in there called the Eurozone, and that was like one of the Earth's superpowers in some year. And they had a file on Syl, who is the person who, or slug thing that is we're currently talking about.
He's a mentor.
For Syl, they had a little citizen file for him, because apparently he's a citizen there. Inside of that, they said he was 2 feet 4 inches tall, weighed 15.2 pounds, and possessed the ability Overgrow and the hidden ability Chlorophyll.
I get it.
And in fact, they are the statistics of Bulbasaur, and were copied and pasted from the info box on its page on the fan site Pokemon database.
Oh, that's fantastic.
What the fuck? What?
As soon as it hidden ability, I thought, hang on a minute, that actually is Pokemon, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my sweet Jesus.
Yeah, but there's 3 of them being carried on platforms, on chairs by guards. One of them is Syl, who me and Frezno saw back in Vengeance on Varos.
Vengeance on Varos is a story from the previous season, and Syl is basically a arch capitalist, a sniveling little bastard that makes funny noises with his tongue. A real jerk, you know? Just an all-around nasty antagonist. And well, I guess Philip Martin liked the character enough to bring him back for this story.
I'm
And it
just so
turns out-
glad he does not find Perry pleasing. I'm so happy for that.
Yes.
There's a line here that alludes to that story that is no word of a lie. In the previous story, because Perry reacts obviously with horror at the fact that Syl is there, and she says Syl's creepy fucker, and the last time we met, he tried to turn me into a bird woman.
And then a quip about birdseed is made.
Yeah, this actually happened, but this is also a trend where the Sixth Doctor is back to being a little bit of a jerk because, you know, Thoros Beta, the planet they're on, is Syl's home planet. And he never thought to mention that, you know, it was the home planet of a slug alien that they met prior who tried to turn Perry into a bird woman. And when she protests, he makes a pun out of it.
God,
he might have wanted to.
How much I wish that the Doctor just remained a little bit of a jerk throughout the rest of this story.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Wait, Syl and the Devil Seeds of Eridor was from 2019?
Yeah,
well, if you reference the Pokemon thing, it had to be.
Jeez.
Yeah, they just made that a while ago. It was like some direct-to-video.
Well, no, I figured that it was, you know, more of a New Who thing, but I thought maybe like back in 2000, not in 2019.
Which also means that the Eurozone reference is a riff on Brexit. God, I hate it here.
Oh boy, let's not review Syl and Devil Seeds on the show.
I'm comfortable never doing that. Yeah.
Someone actually gave Jeremy Corbyn a Blu-ray copy of it.
Oh yeah, they did. They did. I remember that photograph.
Oh god.
Wow, no wonder he lost by 80 seats.
Oh no! Oh god.
Wait, no, sorry, no.
Wait. The more I look at this, the more I'm just... Ace was in it.
What?
Sophie Aldred played a character called Mistress Na in it.
Oh my!
What
fuck,
the hell?
what?
Oh god.
If we look at this thing anymore, I'm gonna go crazy. It's gonna be like
Bill Shaban obviously plays Syl. Christopher Ryan was Kiv. Sophie Aldred was Mistress Na. The rest of these people I don't recognize, unfortunately, but just holy crap.
The more I hear this, it sounds like I'm looking at fucking Cthulhu and going crazy.
That's
here.
blown my mind. So we do have a cut back to an important scene in the.
There's an extra who's wearing a Boba Fett costume in it.
Oh my god.
Of course there is.
So we do cut back to the courtroom for an important scene here because the Valiard accuses the Doctor of placing his companions in danger constantly, and you know what? This is the one time he might have a point.
Okay, there you go. A good interruption. I mean, if you cut the interruptions by like a third, and have them be really good points like this might make some sense. But when you do it every 5 minutes, and it's for the most minute bullshit, it just dilutes the whole thing.
You could cut half of the trial interventions out.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what was in the guy who played the Valeyard's contract, but he didn't need that much screen time, honeys.
And we should also mention, because we kind of skimmed over it earlier, that the Valeyard keeps referring to the Inquisitor as sagacity. So he's buttering her up.
Yeah.
And she does get an amazing line, like, the first time an interruption happens. This is a court of law, not a debating society for maladjusted psychotic sociopaths.
Jesus.
Such a good line, I almost couldn't say it without tripping over my tongue.
Alright. The mentors, then, the Thoros Beatons, they're arch capitalists. So, we've done it again.
We have done it again.
Except,
these guys
have
would not
we?
be out of place on Azarius, would they?
Have we done it again, really, though? Because, I mean, the Sunmakers was very much about, oh, here are these arch capitalists. They're terrible. Throw them off the roof. Whereas Mindwarp is like, here are these arch capitalists. They sure are arch capitalists. It's the 80s, and, you know, there's arch capitalists around, and they're like the arch capitalists in the 80s. That's basically what we're saying here.
Yeah.
We're not going to throw them off a roof or anything. They're there. Here they are.
They're there. They exist.
Yeah, honestly, this is not a story about the arch capitalists. So I would
It's
say
not.
we're very iffy
It's
on
more
that.
about science and bad application of science.
Science!
Speaking of science, oh shit, Brian Blessed still has a 90% Brian Blessed quotient up the pacification dose.
His face when he goes about to go on the rampage. It's like, ah.
We also meet Sill's boss, the Lord Kiv, another beaten slug person.
There are three mentors in this story. One of them does not even get a name.
Yeah, the guy
He's
in
my
part
favorite.
4.
The guy in part 4, yeah, he's briefly
my
in this
favorite one.
when he's carried. He's quite funny, but he gets carried past with the other two, and then you just don't see him again until part 4. But this mentor, Kiv, played by Christopher Ryan, who would go on to play Sontarans in the David Tennant and Matt Smith eras, respectively.
And who would go on, apparently, to reprise his role in Sill and the Devil Seeds of Arador.
Indeed.
I know what I'm picking!
Yeah!
Oh, God, no!
Well, he's in the Sontaran strategy and in the Pandorica Open, so you can pick either of those.
Yeah.
And Sill,
so
I think it's Sill, or is it Kiv? One of the mentors gets a great line. It's like, dead! No, worse than dead! Poor!
Yeah. that's a Sill line, yeah.
Yeah. But the Doctor does a little bit of sabotage in the operating room. He sneaks in there. He and Perry find Brian Blessed, who is Ikanos?
Yes.
Ikanos, yeah.
So,
Go
before
ahead.
we get to that, I just want to mention that we get some backstory for what Crozier's up to here. Kiv has really bad headaches, and Crozier wants to keep him alive because, as Syl puts it, we've got to keep Lord Kiv alive or else we won't make money.
Yeah.
We won't make more money. Boo-hoo. But
Yeah, this is a slight spoiler for what's coming up, but I mean, you're watching this, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But I was actually surprised. Syl actually wants to save his life. I thought it would be sort of like he's going to die on the operating table, and then now I'm going to be in charge of everything. But no, they actually subvert that.
No, because if Kiv dies, Syl dies.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm happy they subvert that and make it so that he literally can't do that.
Yeah. So if Kiv dies, yeah, everyone else dies because apparently fuck all y'all.
But the Doctor disconnects the equipment that's hooking Ikanos up to the machine. And then Syl enters the room, and this is where you get that callback. Well, he doesn't find her pleasing. He finds her the opposite. He calls her revoltingly ugly. Syl, buddy, have you looked in the mirror recently?
That's the joke.
I know.
But there's still the problem the
Insert
cat
that
mentioned.
Simpsons meme.
There's still the problem the cat mentioned with where they bring up the fact that, well, if the Rock became hostile suddenly, then he reverted, and so Crozier's experiments are flawed and they need to be reevaluated. So they need to get the truth out of the Doctor and Perry. So Syl decides, why don't you hook him up to the Brain Blaster?
The Brain Blaster?
The
brain
machine.
drain.
Brain drainer, whatever do you want to call it, pacifier.
No, I know what you referred to. I'm just saying about my Brain Blaster.
That's exactly what happens to Colin Baker at the end of this part. His brain gets fucking blasted.
This is the cliffhanger. This is that scene from that Tacky video that you did that both me and Kat didn't recognise till now. So, they replace Sakanos with the Doctor. Syl orders Crozier to extract the truth from the Doctor's mind, and then the Doctor spasms uncontrollably.
Oh no! Blah! And that's the end of part 1 / part 5, because this is Trial of the Time Lord, and it's billed as one 14-part long story, even though you can clearly delineate it into 4 distinct regular-sized series. Well, 3 distinct regular-sized series, 1 2-part of it, you know what I mean. So, part 2, the resolution to the cliffhanger is, oh shit. Oh fucking shit. We've woken up Brian Blessed.
The Blessed is loose. Run for your lives. And he just starts trashing the lab.
Fucking full on Orson Wellesing this shit.
He knocks out both guards single-handedly by chopping them in the chest at the same time. The man is a force of nature.
There's a great line from Syl. Don't shoot! We need him alive to sign contracts.
Syl does get some good dialogue.
Yeah. This isn't entirely bad, but this is when things start to get bad. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Brian Blessed is going on a fucking rampage, screaming at the top of his lungs as Brian Blessed is ought to do.
I mean, yeah, that is kind of his default setting.
Yes.
And then we do find out who the Lucosa actually is. Because as after he's trashed the lab, he escapes in the confusion, and so do the Doctor and Perry. And then they run into the Lucosa, and Nicanus is like, that's my equerry.
You're skipping over a lot here, Rain. That doesn't happen till way later.
Really?
Yeah.
Did I just not make notes for this next part? Oh, please, carry on.
Okay, so Perry and the Doctor. Perry manages to drag the Doctor out of the place after Yakanos has, wasted everyone. I'm Brian fucking Blessed! And they escape into the caves, and he introduces himself as Yakanos, King of the Crontept, and the Doctor is very clearly... His brain has been fucked up by this blast. He is out of it.
Yeah, he fried.
Yeah. He's very... Brian Blessed is talking about crushing the skull of his enemies, and the Doctor's just like, I'd enjoy that!
Yeah. He just collapses in the background.
Yeah. And back in the trial, the Doctor's like, wait a minute. Wait, I don't remember any of this shit after I got my brains blasted. But my mind is starting to clear a bit, and the Valer's like, oh, well, that's very convenient, Doctor, for getting the terrible, terrible truth that implicates you in these heinous crimes.
Oh yeah, we probably should mention, in case you forgot, technically the Doctor has amnesia because he was pulled from the time stream, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
By whom and why, we don't know yet.
Yeah.
Well, we're meant to assume that it was the trial itself that is the reason he was pulled out of it.
Also,
yes.
I don't know how heavy Nicola Bryant was at the time of filming, but Brian Blessed just picks her up with ease.
As Brian Blessed
like a bag of sugar. I mean, the man did climb Kilimanjaro in old school mountain climbing gear, so he is a badass.
I know, but still, he just whoop.
Yeah.
Whoop. Did he
lifts her up with a pinky, and she is suddenly in the stratosphere.
Did he climb Everest too, or am I thinking of a different mountain?
Was it Everest or Kilimanjaro that he did? He did one of the major mountains in like old school mountain climber gear, and did it with ease.
He did a big mountain like a badass, is what we're saying.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
Okay. Well, you find out. And
Oh, I didn't know he was Clayton and Tarzan. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. I mean, Clayton doesn't shout in that one, so I can understand why you were a bit confused. But no, he was Clayton and Tarzan. He calls Perry, what is it? Perpendicular of the Brown.
Yeah.
He attempted to climb Mount Everest 3 times without oxygen, but he was never able to reach the summit. But he did reach the top of, pardon me, I'm going to horribly mispronounce this, Aconcagua in Argentina, and Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania.
Yeah, I knew he climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
Blech.
Tanzania.
So,
Tanzania. And has undertaken an expedition into the jungles of Venezuela, during which he survived a plane crash.
Was that before or
Christ.
after Madoka punched a hole through it?
what?
What?
What? Did Brian Buster climb the mountain before or after Madoka punched a hole through it?
Oh!
Madoka punched a hole through it?
Sorry, Hibiki.
I was... Leave all that in. You
Of
need to
course.
leave all that in.
Hibiki.
Brainiac, you want to know something really funny?
It's the same voice actress. That's why I made the mistake.
Yeah, you're not entirely wrong.
Sorry.
Because it's the same voice
Hibiki.
actress.
Hibiki.
Also, if anybody needs any more proof as to why Brian Bless is a national treasure, he's the oldest man to have reached the North Magnetic Pole on foot, where he says he punched a polar bear in the nose.
Yep. I'm
Badass.
not going to call that man a liar. I believe him.
So, back to Mindwarp, we get an explanation about Lord Kibb's brain and how it's expanding in his skull, and the cranial pressure will kill him unless they can do like a fancy brain transplant. This is what Crozier's scientific field is: fancy brain transplants and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Now I thought that Sil was double dealing Kiv here. It's like, oh, he wants him to die in the operation and take his place. But no, as you're right, they subvert this beautifully, that he will die if Kiv dies.
So Sil is basically just a brown noser. Oh, you're magnificent. Oh my, you must live.
Yeah, and his brown nosing. I love Kiv's reaction to his sycophantic ramblings.
Yeah.
Are you trying to talk me to death?
So far, we've been having moderate fun with this episode, but now things take a turn.
Dear.
So, the Dr. Perry and Urkanos make it to a, well, for lack of a better term, it's where the people working for the mentors are keeping other people captive. I believe it's Urkanos' people, or whatever it is, they're keeping people captive for experimentation, and Urkanos wants to free them. So he's gonna get a laser, and he's gonna stealthily fight his way through and save everyone. Until the doctor calls out and alerts the guards.
Behind you.
And so Perry and Urkanos are like surrounded, and oh no! So they escape, and the doctor has betrayed his friends.
This is terrible.
This is weird.
Urkanos immediately calls him out as a traitor, so good for him. I'm also distracted very much during this scene by the fact that one of the guards' helmets clearly doesn't fit the man. I guess they had no time to fix that in the wardrobe department because they had to finish the story. But yeah, the Doctor, a hero to many people, defender of the innocent and all that, betrays Urkanos
And Perry.
Just like clicking a finger. This is so wrong. And Well,
Indeed, he goes up to Syl, and Syl's like, "Oh, Doctor, oh, this is clearly a ploy, right? Oh, you're doing some sort of deception or something." And the Doctor's like, "Nope, nope, I'm just totally self-interested. Why do I want to risk my neck for those idiots? I'm all for me now, me." Haha, I'm a betrayer now. I'm the imposter. Blah. Thank you, Kat.
Welcome.
so Perry takes matters into her own hands at this point. She can't believe
Well-
what she's hearing from the Doctor. So she grabs the phaser out the Doctor's hands and tries to murder Syl.
So I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I'm going to say something bad about the Sixth Doctor.
Oh no! Look what we've done. Look what you've done to us, Mindwarp. Look what you reduced us to.
The Doctor betrays Perry for his own gain in order to make sure that he's safe. What is that, the Sixth Doctor?
Oh Jesus!
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically just him reverting back to Twin Dilemma.
I mean, that's what they're going for here, and I'm going to argue in a second it doesn't work.
Oh God.
I'm going to argue right now that it doesn't work.
Well, I want to get into the why, because we cut to the trial room again, and the Doctor's like, wait a minute, that's not me. I would never do something like that. And the Values are like, oh, yes, you would, Doctor, because you're a self-opportunistic little shit. And
Oh,
the
yes,
Matrix,
you would, Doctor. Roll the footage, and then they just play Twin Dilemma.
and, it's repeated again that the Matrix can't lie, so whatever it shows has to be 100% the truth. We've seen this in Terror of the Vervoids. Well,
Yes.
people would see it later, but we've seen it in Terror of the Vervoids where it's like, wait a minute, that didn't happen. That's total bullshit.
Yeah.
So this is the first cropping up of that, where they're questioning the validity of the Matrix. And they're like, no, the Matrix is totally 100% accurate at all times, so clearly you're trying just to make yourself look good, Doctor. But then the Doctor's like, wait, of course, yes, it was totally a ploy. I was totally pretending to be a huge asshole to gain their trust so I could undermine their plans. Yeah, let's keep watching the footage and it'll prove that I was just pretending the entire time and I wasn't just being a total dick.
Pretty convincing impression of a jerk there, Doctor.
Cue to the Doctor acting like a total dick.
So here's the thing with this, and I'm going to go into a little tangent. This does not work for me in the slightest and actively harms the story, but... So Colin Baker has gone on record on the DVD special features critiquing this because it's ambiguous whether or not what really happened here. Because it is clear that things are being fabricated. It's ambiguous, so... He naturally on set was asking how to play it. Do I play it as I'm really doing this, or do I just ham it up and play like a huge asshole? He's asking, so what's real and what's fake here? And nobody gave him a straight answer, so he just played it like he plays it. And
Once again, not Colin Baker's fault.
No, I'm not blaming Colin Baker. I'm blaming the writing.
I know. I'm telling other people who are going to blame him. It's not his fault.
Yeah. He tried to get a read on it. He admitted it. He tried to get a read on how he should be playing it, and nobody gave him a straight answer because they were going for the ambiguity. And I was prepared to go into this podcast defending this choice by comparing it to, say, a David Lynch movie where it's not entirely clear what's going on. You have to make up your own mind on how you interpret the events, blah blah blah. But then I realized that's bullshit. Because no matter what road you lead, let's take the possibilities here. Either the Doctor is pretending to be a huge asshole to betray the mentors at the end of the story once he gets close to their operation, or the Doctor is legitimately betrayed his people to become a self-serving opportunistic asshole. It doesn't fucking matter, because no matter what interpretation you take, what you get on the screen is the Doctor being a huge asshole.
Yeah.
Twin Dilemma style. And it doesn't work no matter what. Even if they explained either one, it doesn't work, and they don't explain it. I'm gonna spoil Ultimate Foe for you. They don't go back to Mindwarp and tell you what's real and what's fake, because The Ultimate Foe is its own clusterfuck.
Oh, great.
They don't ever go back and clear it up. They clear up exactly one thing about Mindwarp, and I won't mention that here. We'll talk about it when we talk about Ultimate Foe. But they don't ever explain which parts were the Doctor pretending to be an asshole, and which parts were the Matrix lying and exaggerating and being an asshole. So either way, you've got the Doctor being a Twin Dilemma style asshole, and it just doesn't fucking work. Especially when you consider the history of the time. Like, the show got put on hiatus. This was their grand relaunch. Doctor Who's not shit. Let's comment, and we're on trial, so let's comment on our own thing. Let's have the Doctor be a Twin Dilemma style asshole, and we'll do snarky meta commentary on it with the trial saying, "Oh, Doctor, look at you, being such an asshole and being so mean to your companion. That's really bad behavior." But, okay, this is a deep cut. This is the Doctor Who equivalent of the angry video game nerd video games. Where, for those who don't know, those games are trying to be deliberately bad games. Like, they exaggerate the thing. There's all sorts of instant death traps and cheap gotcha tricks and bullshit. And you've got the meta commentary of, wow, this game sure is a piece of shit. Wow, look at that. I didn't expect that trap. But and a lot of people laugh at that. It's just like this bad game. But at the end of the day, you've still made a game that's bad like those games.
Yeah.
So it's just, even if you're trying to be cute and cheeky, you've still made a shit video game. And it's the same thing with Mindwarp.
It's kind of like if you're playing I Want to Be the Guy and you have some people who are watching you play it and laugh at you every time you mess up.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. They're trying to be cute and comment on that bad stuff and say, "Oh, look how far we come. Look at us. We're self-critiquing ourselves." But all they did is they reverted the Doctor back to that aggravating Twin Dilemma bullshit.
I'm afraid so.
And it's so fucking frustrating to watch, and I don't like it at all.
It makes what happens in about 5 minutes even more uncomfortable.
So, with that in mind, that's my prosecution for why Mindwarp is bad. So let's continue with the story.
So ends the patented Frezrant section of the podcast.
Uh-huh.
And not nary a mirror to be had.
So let's move on a bit, because I don't want to think more about the Doctor being an asshole to his friends intentionally more than a second longer than I have to. So, Ikanos has got away. He finds Dorf and swears he's going to avenge him. There's a little bit of like, you're not a wolf man, you're a warrior. Fight. So he gets him out the way. Meanwhile, Perry is caught by Frax again. She just steps on his foot.
That's actually pretty neat that she gets away like that. Very proactive.
Yeah. But she doesn't get away because, unfortunately, she runs into another of the people running the system, Matrona.
Rogier's lab assistant.
Yeah.
But
she's also the matron of all the female servants there. So
she sort of gets away. The matron's like, I'm not going to call the guards on you if you become one of my serving girls.
Yeah.
And Perry's like, oh, okay.
That is true, yes.
Yeah,
and so
this is definitely the messiest part of the whole thing. I would say
it sucks.
There's a lot of, why are we doing this? Because we need to get them here.
And there's a lot of cutting as well between scenes.
Yeah.
And it's hard to focus because we cut back to Ikanos and Dorf, and Dorf's like, kill me, kill you, I'd rather kill the Doctor. He betrayed me. I have a special death reserved for him.
So Perry becomes a serving girl. She's got like a veil on and flowing robes and stuff. And she's going to serve the mentors their food and drink. And the Doctor is also there. Because now he's working with them and he's totally bad. And Perry is forced to give the Doctor a drink, and the Doctor looks up at her and he's like, get me another drink. And Perry obliges and gives him a drink. He's like, what's in this? What's in this drink? And he reveals Perry, and he's like, it's you! Take her away!
He accuses her of trying to poison them? What is going on?
Yeah. And so then Perry
Bad direction. That's what's going on. Bad direction.
Well, it gets worse because then Perry's taken to the Rock of Sorrows to be interrogated. And we cut to the trial, and the doctor's like, "Of course, I remember now. This was my grand plan. I was going to get us separated and pretend to betray Perry and work with them so that we could cleverly, employingly talk in private about what we were going to do. Yeah, yeah. So then the doctor cleverly, employingly tortures and interrogates Perry while she's chained to a rock at the beach, and the tide is coming in.
So that line about Perry
Right.
being nervous of not liking the pink water was foreshadowing this.
Oh, goody!
And I really wish it wasn't, but this is basically a form of water torture, which is horrific. Yeah. If you want to give yourself sleepless nights, please do research that on your own time, because I do not want to be responsible for that. And as he's torturing, he's saying, you know, I thought you were my friend. I am your friend. And okay, is this the bit where he breaks the facade? He's like, yeah, I'm going to get you out now. No. He's still being forceful to her. He wants to know who the Thoros Alpha conspirators are. Of course, Perry's got no idea what he's talking about. And then he says a line that boils my blood.
Oh, what's that?
You are expendable. You have no value.
See, I am going to just try to alleviate that for you, because I got a different read off of this. So, bearing in mind what you said, Frez, about how he didn't really have direction on how to play this, the way he made it sound is he very much sounded like he was trying to give Perry hints at what the plan was, without actively saying what the plan was, because obviously, you know, Kiv and Sil are watching on a monitor.
Yeah.
So he's saying things like, you are expendable, as in, you're expendable, I have to try to protect you, so as, you know, by constantly questioning you, at the very least, you're still alive.
That's one way of interpreting it, I guess.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I think you're giving it
you're
too
going
much
for,
credit.
but it's also kind of, you got to really stretch to get there.
I
Not
think
really.
I think you're giving Philip Martin way too much credit.
The very first time I watched this, that's how I read it was, oh, he's trying to subtly tell her that he's still on her side without actively saying that he's on her side.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's an interpretation I agree with, but fair enough.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but that gets to the original defense I was going to bring, the David Lynchian
I think
interpretation.
Here's the big difference. Here's the big difference between us. You two aren't going to give him a chance just because of the fact that it's, you know, Mindwarp, it's the Sixth Doctor, none of his stories are good. I'm willing to give him a chance no matter what.
Oh, well,
it's not that I'm not willing to give him a chance, and I think Colin Baker is terrific.
It just doesn't come across as a story, but I get where you're coming from. It
just doesn't come across as that interpretation for me, but that's fine. Anyway, Crozier actually stops his interrogation.
I mean, it's fine because I interpret Orphan 55 as being good. So,
yeah.
So I'll give you that. You know?
Yeah, and we like her blam.
Yeah.
There you go. See, fair is fair. Fair is fair.
And then we're going to have a fight in the parking lot. Anyways, it's Crozier that stops the interrogation because he doesn't want the doctor to damage her too much. Because the doctor's going to be Kif's donor body, unless he can find a better alternative. And guess what? That's Perry.
Oh, no.
Well, it's not Perry yet. That's not until, like, part 8.
That's the implication that he's telling, you know. I have to find another body, and here you are chained to a rock. What a coincidence. But this is our cliffhanger then. So they take Perry. They're going to take Perry to Crozier, so she can have the truth extracted
really
from
calls
her.
out the doctor here.
I love this. His changing personality. She can barely look at him now. And then our cliffhanger is Brian Blessed.
Yay!
He runs in, thumps the guards again, and he's going to kill the doctor.
Yay! Wait.
Our resolution is Perry saves him.
Yay! Wait.
She breaks the gun because she says, "What did you do that for?" I can't help it.
The Doctor wasn't always like that, and like this is a little fucked up. But when you invoke something like that, and you're invoking Twin Dilemma, and Perry is calling him out on that bullshit, it's kind of there's some real unfortunate readings you can make of that.
Oh God, there is, isn't there?
Yeah, but he wasn't always this bad. He's good, I swear.
What was it I said back when we did Twin Dilemma?
Fuck this
Something
shit.
about relationships and how they presented it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, look what they're invoking again.
Yeah.
That's not great.
Yeah.
And as Perry says, the Doctor wasn't always like that. We again cut to the trial. Oh, yes, you were, Doctor. You were always like that.
Honestly, it's hard to tell exactly who should be blamed for this, just because there's so many people working on Doctor Who that it's kind of hard to say, oh, it's just this writer's fault, because there are several different writers, and it's not just this director's fault because there were several directors, unless there was one director for the whole thing and I haven't been paying attention.
I think there's a couple directors for it, but
it's like for the entirety of the Six Doctors run, he just gets so fucked over, and it's kind of sad.
Oh yeah, we haven't even gotten to the tragedy of the Ultimate Foe yet.
Is it worse than this?
I have this feeling that you guys are hinting something at me, but I'm not sure what it is.
Is it worse than this? Be honest with me.
No, I don't think it's worse than this. It's just the whole being fired.
The prosecutor, sorry, not the prosecutor, the Inquisitor. That's my bad. I wrote it down in the notes wrong. Suggests that they adjourn the trial because the Doctor's got can't defend himself fairly because he's got a lack of memory. And the Doctor, very sensibly, rejects the advice that could save his life.
Well, I mean,
he also rejects getting any sort of court-appointed attorney because he's like, you guys want me to, go away. Why the heck would I trust you?
Yeah.
He also defends himself by saying, well, the things happened like this, but the emphasis is all wrong. And again, it's like, if we could only see a version of Mindwarp that, quote-unquote, really happened, it might make the sting less. It's just the clusterfuck of events behind things ensure that we never would.
Can I say that does not help my whole idea of the Doctor and Perry are sort of an abusive relationship? Because it's like, if you could just see my point of view, then you would see that nothing I did was wrong.
Oh, Jesus.
Don't think of it like that.
Yeah.
But speaking of stings then, Crozier has found a body for Kif to transplant his brain into.
So, Brainiac, you would say that a body has been discovered.
Yes. Wrong game.
Yeah.
But yes.
I don't know if Cat has. I don't know if Cat has the bing bong bing bong. Yes.
Good enough. And
it works.
This is a younger mentor that they found lying dead off the coast, and it's also got a working stinger. And Kif makes a dark joke that he's going to sting his assistants to death.
God.
I don't think that was a joke.
And Syl is like,
really
Syl has to pretend he's happy about this because, of course, he does.
But it'll buy Crozier and friends more time to refine their process so they can get a suitable body for Kif. So,
it's not meant to be a permanent transfer.
They're just going to stick his body in there and buy him some time because his brain is about to burst out through his skull.
Yeah.
Kill him.
Yeah.
Brain compression. Fatal brain compression. We don't cut back to Brian Blessed.
The basic idea of what's going on is that he is mutating to the point that his brain is expanding, but because his skull is hard and unyielding, his brain is essentially pressing up against his skull, and he's slowly dying from that as well as the pain and everything. Yeah. So they have to find a bigger skull to put his brain in.
Mm-hmm.
So Brian Blessed, meanwhile,
we get some nice sort of explanation on who Brian Blessed's character is here. He's not a native. He's the king of the Krontep. this barbarian warrior race. That
Klingon, basically.
Yeah, I think it's like a sister planet to Thoros Beta or a nearby planet.
Something
Anyway,
like that. Something.
but he's got this whole obsession with dying a hero and destiny, and Perry's not a believer in destiny. And this sets up some friction between them, which is quite quickly resolved. But Akarnos has a grand plan. There are rebels scattered throughout Thoros Beta, Alpha Thorons who didn't submit to the will of the Mentors. We're going to find them, I'm going to train them, unite them behind a great leader, me, and we're going to kill the Mentors.
Big plan. Speaking of the Mentors, Crozier has done his brain swapping procedure, whatever you want to call it, and put Kiv in the body of this dead Thoros Beaten. And Sill's like, the wealth of the planet depends on Lord Kiv. We've got to do it.
Well, from what I understand, what he actually did was he put parts of Kiv's mind into the other mentor, the mentor corpse.
Yeah.
And that sort of like fucks everything up. And then eventually he's like, we're gonna have to do an actual brain transplant at some point.
He has no heart or brain reading, so that he's basically dead at this point. And Kiv's guards immediately aim their weapons at Sill.
So Crozier's trying to like resuscitate him, and Sill's like, half my fortune if you give me a 5-minute head start. Oh, take it all, take it all.
He also calls that he says that the idea that Kiv is dead is a sick joke. But eventually it actually succeeds, and he starts breathing, and he goes, see? Strange, witless humour.
The doctor's like, well, it's good to know that you're the treacherous slimeball you always were, Sill.
And
Sill's like, oh, I aim for continuity of my personality, Doctor.
There's also this little scene where Dorf and Perry are both complaining that they're hungry. So Akarnos offers Perry some food. I'm not sure what it is.
Fish?
Yes, it's a sort of fish,
yeah,
isn't
he
it?
says it's some sort of fish.
And then Perry doesn't really like it, but then Dorf says that Akarnos is jealous.
It's really funny because, obviously Dorf is part wolf, part dog, something like that. Who knows what they did to him? But he starts, rubbing his face against Perry's shoulder.
You never find out what they did to him. That's another problem with this story.
No, I think that's fine. The ambiguity is
and
fine.
And Brian Butter just flies into a rage. They are about to fight, and Perry gets between them. This scene is a lot funnier than it should be.
So
you've got Wolfman, you've got Big Brian Blessed, and Little Nicola Bright between them, keeping them from fighting each other.
So Sill, meanwhile, invites the doctor to check out some capitalist bullshit, and the doctor's like, "Oh, sure, sounds fun." And while they're off doing that, the matron.
Sorry, I just got a weird shiver on my spine from you saying that.
Oh God! So while they're doing that, the matron gives Crozier a cup of tea, and he's sipping the tea, and then she's like, "Crozier, Lord Kiv's flatlining," and Crozier's just like, "Huh? Oh shit." And he just finishes the cup of tea before he goes to give him CPR.
So he's definitely British then.
Dip upper lip.
He doesn't even give him CPR or anything. He just starts wailing on the thing's chest.
Yeah.
He's pressing on his chest. Pump, pump, pump. And here's another moment of the doctor being an asshole, because Sill is checking out, credit loans and shit, and he's like, "Oh, this space debris company wants to get credit, and I think I'll deny them." The doctor's like, "Hang on a minute. At this time, in this century, there's going to be a great war around that particular sector, so there's going to be a lot of debris after the war for this company to collect, if they have the ship to do it with. A lot of profit. Ooh, it's great to have a Time Lord in one's employ. Yes, very good." Oh no, he's giving Sill advanced future knowledge to line his pockets and advance the capitalist schemes. Clearly, this doctor is evil and must be punished.
Or he's luring Sill into a trap where he goes bankrupt in 20 years' time. But
who knows?
I wish I could read the story like that. I really do.
Again, it's never explained, so you don't know.
I mean,
Again, it's hard to tell who to blame for this, but it's just the only thing we could say is it's not the actor's fault.
I think it's a case of the left hand not knowing what the right hand is doing.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I will blame the writer and the script editor. In tandem.
I think it's a case of the left hand is giving us the finger while the right hand jerks off.
Basically, what a summation of the trial.
How eloquently put.
So Perry and Urkanos find the Elfin rebels.
Well, they find them.
They're found, who promptly capture them, and they're ready to bash their heads in with a rock so they don't get brainwashed by the mentors.
This is a nice bit of world building that, this idea that, the worst thing that can happen is they could be used as a weapon against us. If we cave their skulls in, that can't happen.
Urkanos is like,
Too bad this only comes in part 3.
Yeah, it's not mentioned again.
Is like, I ain't gonna beg for mercy. Bash my fucking head in if you're gonna do it.
Yeah, Perry is
and
the one
Perry
who
makes
taught
sense
them.
to believe.
Yeah, she talks to them about killing them, and then Carnos backs her up, and he's got this grand plan, which he tells them off screen.
So they're going to find the Alphin's weapon stump, but before they get there, they find another Alphin who's been aged to death, and he wasn't an old person before, so clearly this is some fucked up experiment.
He was 20 years old when he was left to guard the weapon dump, and then he died as a 100-year-old man.
There's a great scene later when the Doctor and Syl come back to Crozier's lab, and Crozier's trying to revive Kiv. And, Kiv finally wakes up, and Syl's like, I'm the first face Kiv needs. And so Kiv wakes up from his body transfer, and you get this close shot, this disgusting close shot of Syl going, ah, Kiv! And Kiv's just like, ah!
Yeah, he nearly gives Kiv another heart attack.
Have I died and gone to, he says some sci-fi bullshit. It's basically, he doesn't say hell, he says...
The plague halls of Mogdana.
Yeah.
Because
he's basically like...
Carnos has the same belief.
It's basically, oh my god, I've died and gone to hell. Hell's slug face in my face. Ah.
However, he's still got his headaches.
Well, they were only buying time after all.
Yes, yeah. But he didn't know this. He thought this was like the only transfer he had to do. But why have I still got my headaches? Oh, we're just finding a better body.
So,
he's also
against the end of part 3.
Oh, what is it? Syl, he says, Syl, what have you been doing? Not financial speculation, I hope.
So, part 3's cliffhanger is kind of fucked up.
Oh, God. So, yeah, rocks have fallen and everyone has died.
Well, one doesn't cause the other. Rocks have fallen, blocking the Elfin's weapon stump, and then they're ambushed by the guards, and they're all shot, and apparently dead. And the Doctor's like, wait, this isn't my fault.
Knowing what happens in part 4, I kind of wish they were.
This is just the ending to Blade 7.
Oh, God. Yeah. So we end on this lengthy trial scene where they're trying the meta commentary again, and the Doctor's like, wait, well, that's not my fault. Oh, but it kind of is your fault, isn't it, Doctor? Which, it kind of is. If the Doctor wasn't playing 4D chess here with the mentors, then Perry wouldn't have been shot by these guys. If you know.
Yeah, see, I think that's the weak point of the whole Trial of a Time Lord thing, is the fact that we're supposed to be on the Doctor's side, and we're supposed to be like, yeah, shut up, Valyard. What do you know? But it's like, the Valyard's making really good points here.
Yeah.
Like, when the 7th Doctor does this master plan, I'm got a plan up my sleeve, 5 steps ahead bullshit, he makes sure that everyone lives, you know?
Yeah.
To a point, but yes.
Yeah. Like, he's not like, oh, I'm going to put Ace in danger. Oh, she died. Oh, it's not my fault. I was just planning.
Anyway, part 4 opens with us immediately undercutting the dramatic tension of, is Perry dead? No. Well, thanks for telling us.
Again, they're doing the whole meta commentary thing where they're trying to be like, oh, look at us. We're poking fun at our gratuitous cliffhanger, where the Inquisitor's like, is the young woman dead? No, Sagacity. Then what was the point of showing that gratuitous scene of violence?
Yeah. And that calls back to Mysterious Planet when she said she didn't have a stomach for gratuitous human violence.
Mm.
The point of it, lady, was for dramatic effect. I am a thespian.
God almighty.
I mean, he is. Michael Jackson is, so. Very good actor. So they were in fact stunned. Merely stunned and taken to a cell. So this is how Blade 7 would have resumed had it got a fifth series. But
so everyone's captured.
Yeah, can I just read out what TARDIS Wiki has here?
Yeah.
Oh God! Of all things, TARDIS.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Whilst locked up, Perry and Yarkina start to develop fond feelings for each other, as Perry tells him about the concept of love.
Understand the concept of love. That's
well, you gotta believe in the power of love, so. But
what is this, Symphogear? Wait, hang on. Holy shit. I just recalled. This story is hey, you know that part in Symphogear where they play the whole, oh shit, this character has betrayed the other character thing. How horrible. And they have a good reason for it to happen in the next story. And they're like, oh, we're actually going to explain it fully. And it makes full sense with the characters and their arcs and their mutual understanding of each other. Remember when Symphogear did that?
I will slap
Remember
you.
how Mindwarp doesn't fucking do that at all, and it's just, oh, look at me, I'm the doctor, I'm an asshole.
I will slap you where you stand.
Why?
I'll hold him for you.
Because I'm right? Why are you bullying me? I'm right!
I hate you all right now.
Well, just him, but yeah. You're fine for the moment, Kat. You're fine for the moment. But there's an interesting explanation here where Frax says, about the weapons dump. Oh, we always knew about the weapons dump. We didn't do anything because it wasn't a threat, because weapons are only a danger if the people that use them are well trained, and you're not well trained. But then Akanos turned up, and he's a barbarian, he's a warrior, so we had to do something about it. Interesting. It's never followed through on.
No. So Kiv, meanwhile,
was it the well trained part? Because I seem to remember that it was specifically that the weapons weren't a big deal because the people weren't willing to use them, and it was only because Yarganos came over and said, "Hey, weapons, let's use them."
Yeah.
Basically. So Kiv, meanwhile, is he's suddenly thinking about the sea and fishing. Uh-oh. Turns out that body was a fisherman, and parts of that fisherman's brain are trying to imprint on Kiv's personality and creating a little bit of a clash. So
and this is interesting.
We got to
transplant, real life transplants. Like, there have been stories of people having heart transplants, and it changing their personality.
Why?
I think there was a woman that she had a heart transplant, and then she really got into watching wrestling, which she'd never done before.
Oh my.
And it turned out that the donor was a big fan of wrestling.
Wild.
Could be a coincidence, but
my mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yes.
So they got to transfer that brain immediately. And unfortunately, the doctor's incompatible, and he's like, "Oh, it's too bad. I would have given my body to Kiv." And Crozier's like, "Well, what about your companion? What about Perry? Oh, she's human. She's female. There's no way." Well, I think I should check anyway. But and the doctor's like, well, "I don't know about that." Crozier just says, "Well, I can understand. You've got some fondness. I'm not without pity. If you can go find someone else who could fit the bill, then we'll use them instead."
Remember that for 10 minutes from now.
Yeah.
It's important. Hint, hint.
Yeah. So the doctor heads to this the processing place or whatever, and we meet the third mentor.
Unnamed third mentor.
The one you called the best character.
Mentor.
The one who's just like, I want to sit up in peace and quiet.
Mentor, the message taker.
I'm watching TV, leave me alone.
So the doctor says, "Oh, I've got Crozier's permission." He disables the one Alphen's suppression chip or whatever they implanted on him. And then he goes to say, hey, I want to see your Kanos. I want to check him out. And through some trickery, he manages to get the gun from the guard and free Yurkanos.
He finally reveals this was a ploy, because he says to Tuza, the guy's name is Tuza. So he's like, who are you? Oh, an associate of Crozier, a friend.
It was a ploy all along.
Finally,
hooray,
he drops the facade, but good God, Dot, you could have done it sooner.
Yeah.
Buried yourself in the part, and yeah, he really should have dropped it sooner, as we'll see. So, yeah, he frees Yurkanos. Yurkanos is like, what? But I'm supposed to kill. And at this point, before the Doctor frees Yurkanos, he and Perry are locked up, and Crozier decides to investigate Perry for her suitability anyway. So they take her off, and Yurkanos says to her, "Die well, my lady," as they take her off.
Yeah.
So the Doctor's freed Yurkanos, but meanwhile, Perry is in the lab getting investigated by Crozier, and turns out she's absolutely perfect for the mind transfer.
Well, shit.
We must prep her immediately. But what about that whole thing? Yeah, like I said, it's important that he just completely ignores that.
Fuck that. Well, hey, in the story about where the Doctor betrays everyone, why shouldn't Crozier betray him and be like, oh, fuck it, she's perfect. I ain't waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the Doctor and Yurkanos are going to free all the slaves and cause a revolution, but meanwhile, Crozier is strapping her down and is like, okay, shave her head. I'm going to attempt direct transference.
Oh, and they gag her too, so that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So we're just skipping ahead here because getting to the real important bits. There's fun bits where that one mentor you talked about, he doesn't like loud noises, and of course Brian Blessed shows up and starts yelling loudly. He's like, just leave me alone.
I love the fact that they actually incorporated the fact that Brian Blessed has a very loud voice into the plot.
It's cute. What's not so cute is what happens next. So all hell is breaking loose. They're trying a revolution. Dorf gets shot and is killed off screen. He dies a warrior's death. Yeah. Everything's going to shit. And just as the Doctor is about to go save Perry, he stops. The TARDIS appears. He walks backwards into it, and it dematerializes. And this is when he's pulled to the trial. At that exact moment, just as he's about to go save Perry.
He is very much drawn into it, like he's sleepwalking, so this is not the Doctor's intention to go and leave her.
Yeah.
And
he's like, and the Doctor fully remembers what happened now. He's like, wait, I remember. Why in the name of God did you pull me out then? And they're just like, you fucked up. You waited too long. You didn't stop Crozier soon enough, and so we had to intervene and do it instead. And so this is what they did. The High Council itself is interfering to stop Crozier's experiments because apparently they'll fuck with the natural order of the universe or some shit. It's very ill-defined and weird, but the point is, Perry's gone.
Dead.
So, what happens is this. Ikanos has smashed up the control center. Instead of making the slaves into an army he can fight with, they're just wandering around in a daze. It didn't work how they intended, so it's just Tuza and Ikanos, and they're going to charge into the control center and cause havoc to break out. There are 2 guards, there are 2 of them. Fairly good odds. And as they run towards the guards, everything stops. They're trapped in a time bubble.
By the Time Lords. Yeah. Who are waiting for everything to be just right for Ikanos to come in.
I'm going to wait for this whole scene to play out before I react, because this makes me very angry.
Anyway, Crozier has successfully done it better than he intended. He transferred literally every bit of Kiv's mind into Perry's brain. Perry no longer exists.
Yeah, her mind was wiped completely.
And for more of that, he can transfer any mind into anybody. So Kiv is functionally immortal now. As soon as one body wears out, he can transfer Kiv's brain into another body.
Do you know how Brian Blessed chooses the scenery in every scene he's in?
Yeah. And so then Perry Kiv wakes up.
Thanks for
talking
interrupting.
in this...
Patrick Reichart, who plays Crozier, does a bit of scenery chewing of his own here.
Yeah.
When he says, he need never die. And apparently, Colin Baker recounts Reichart had a hard time on the set because he didn't understand the script.
Oh my god.
And so his lines were, and I quote, all over the bloody place.
So Kiv in Perry's body wakes up and, we've got this chilling image of Nicola Bryant just staring dead-eyed in the bald cap and talking in this deep, slightly resonant voice.
I will say
one
good thing about this is that at the very least Nicola Bryant gets to be, gets to actually act more than you just, the whiny,
she actually liked this.
Doctor, where are you? Sort of thing.
It's fucking creepy and
she
unsettling.
She actually enjoyed this.
Yeah, I mean...
It's like, she did a damn good job. It's just unfortunately what she had to do a damn good job at is extremely dark and horrible.
I will say that Nicola Bryant said at the time that when she was going to leave, she was like, I don't want any bullshit where I'm just like, okay, Doctor, see ya. I want my exit to be memorable. And, well, they nailed it.
It's memorable.
It's certainly memorable.
So, yeah, Kiv wakes up in Perry's body and it's like, yes, a new body. And at that moment, the time bubble breaks and Urkanos rushes in with his guns. And Kiv in Perry's body rises up, protect me!
Protect your Lord and Master.
Brian Blessed just...
He's heartbroken.
He's just like... And he fires, and the screen fades, and that's it!
Yeah, he shouts, no, 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 and you presume that he's slaughtered everybody in the lab at this point. Including Perry. They don't show the scene.
Yeah.
But I guess Crozier got it first, and then Perry died, Syl died, the matron died, everyone died.
Right. And the doctor's just looking in horror. It's like, you killed Perry! You killed her! And they're like, we had to stop Crozier's bullshit. Perry died because you abandoned her, Doctor. This is all your fault. Which...
Yeah. I have a question that will determine a very important factor in how I feel about this.
Go ahead.
Is this really the last time we ever see Perry?
You want me to answer that truthfully?
Yes, I would like for you to answer it truthfully.
I'm just going to mute my microphone. Hang on. Say now.
No.
Okay, good. Because
yeah.
had this been the last time that we ever saw Perry, and this is the true end for the character, I would be pissed.
Well, we'll deal with that whenever we get to Ultimate Foe.
Can't wait to find out what you were talking about when we get to Ultimate Foe.
I feel like you're hinting at something, but I'm not sure what.
I can't wait to talk about that, to hear what you were saying about when we get to Ultimate Foe, because I deliberately just turned all my stuff off so I couldn't hear that to spoil myself.
Yeah. Well, how are you going to get through the editing?
Yeah, how are you going to do the editing?
Well, no, I'll have watched it by that point, and then I will know, but I don't want to know until...
Yeah. So, yeah, it's very much Perry died because you abandoned her, which, there's a certain logical question at the heart of this. The Time Lords pulled the Doctor out of time and stopped him from saving Perry, and then go, wow, Doctor, you sure fucked up by not saving Perry.
This is what makes me angry about this whole trial, because the whole thing is that you're on trial for interference, Doctor, and then they interfere.
I think the point they're trying to make is, like I said, if the Doctor wasn't so goddamn concerned with playing four-dimensional chess and going, I'm betraying you, I'm evil, I'm on your side, before pulling the plug on them and double-crossing them, if he stopped them in like a normal person and not doing shit like that, then Perry probably would have lived.
But he's not on trial.
If he stopped him like, I don't know, the Doctor would?
He's not on trial for the death of Perry, he's on trial for interfering.
Exactly. And well, that's part of his interference.
And I get it. The Time Lords are hypocrites supreme, and they really are. But it just annoys me.
The Doctor vows that the High Council of Time Lords has no right to order Perry's or anyone else's death. There's something going on here, and I'm going to find out what it is. And that's the end of Mindwarp. God, thank God.
Yeah.
And then it goes into Terror of the Vervoids.
Which is better.
Yeah, it's Terror of the Vervoids is a better story than this, definitely. So shall we get to final thoughts?
Yeah, who would like to go first?
Yeah.
I think I'll take it.
Okay.
Oh, this sucks. I don't like it at all. Well, I say that, but there are some moments it's not complete irredeemable. Like Brian Blessed's good in it. There's some funny lines, but it's just a mess. Like this is the grand relaunch after Doctor Who is quote unquote canceled to try and make people like it again. A story where you invoke the shit that got it canceled and go, oh, it sure was bad when the show was like this, while the show is being exactly that. It's a terrible thing. And I really wish that they had more self-awareness to get their big relaunch a little more polished than that. I mean, this has nothing, and this part has nothing really to do with the clusterfuck of the later trial. Because this doesn't involve Robert Holmes in the ending. They could have fixed this. They should have fixed this. But they didn't. It's just a mess that has the Doctor be an asshole for no reason. They try to make it an ambiguous what's going on here thing, but they never properly, elaborate. So you don't know. The actors didn't know. Colin Baker didn't know. Nobody fucking knows. I don't even know if the writer knew. It's just a mess. A damn mess. And not even a fun mess. It's a grim, dour, offensive mess that ends with the needless death of Perry. And it is... Yeah, friend of the show, Michael Hoovian is right. This is the worst part of the trial. This sucks. I'm sorry, Colin Baker. This sucks.
I agree fully with what Frez says. This is definitely the weakest part. Possibly my most hated Sixth Doctor episode other than Twin Dilemma. So probably Twin Dilemma and then this one. That's all I have to say.
Yeah,
it's not good. It's really not good.
Short and sweet.
And the ending is horrible. The ending is just so bad.
Go ahead, Rain.
Okay. It's time to say something that might come back to bite me later.
Ooh.
If Brian Blessed wasn't in this story would be worse than the Twin Dilemma.
Yeah, I can get that. I can get behind
Maybe, I don't know. You'd have to really debate the semantics of that, but we'll give you it for now.
Yeah.
I'm glad he is in this because he gives me someone to actually root for and like, other than Perry. The Doctor, okay, I get it. It's a ploy, but he's just so unreasonable to his companion in a way the Doctor should never be. Curmudgeonly, yes. Standoffish, yes. Actively betraying them and leading them to die? No! No, never! So that, in itself, is wrong. And then you add in the whole, the bad feeling on the set that this might be the end of the show, and people not knowing what they were doing, not knowing how to act, not how to play this. And the fact that they had to announce on the set that Robert Holmes had died.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
Yeah.
That happened while they were filming this,
it happened while they were filming Mindwarp.
I see.
And you can start to see why this is such a disaster.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too harsh on this, but I have to be harsh on this. It's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah.
And I will just say one thing on it to alleviate the dark feelings somewhat, and then we'll move on to next time. Whatever that might be, Kat. So Colin Baker was talking about a take that had to be redone, and it was approaching 10 p.m, which is the cut-off point for the studio.
Mm.
And Brian Blessed had to say, right, let's go find the mentors. Instead, he dried up and said, let's find the fuckerons. There was silence in the studio, and Baker and Nicola Bryant expected Blessed to get a telling off from John Nathan Turner. Instead, Nathan Turner tiptoed down from the gallery and said, that wasn't very helpful, Brian. Brian Blessed replied, sorry, old boy, can I remember the fucking words? A rebound took place.
Amazing. More amazing than Mindwarp.
I mean, that whole sequence is better than Mindwarp.
Oh, yeah.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate Doctor Who in general?
Yeah.
It's like they had some fairly rocket beginnings with the whole, this is a kid show. And then he gets to the Sixth Doctor, and, the Sixth Doctor's run is sadly not all that great. And then you finally get canceled after the Seventh Doctor, which nobody really watched because of the Sixth Doctor.
Yeah.
And then you finally get it back, and it's so weird to go from the Doctor being the ultimate betrayer in this one to Peter Capaldi being like, do you think that I care for you so little?
Yeah. And that's the difference, isn't it?
Deep Breath plays the Mind Warp thing infinitely better.
It's amazing.
That whole scene.
That's a combination of a ploy and the fact that he's struggling to cope with his new regeneration.
The ploys only last like minutes in the good stories. They're not over half the goddamn story.
No.
That's the thing with the ploy. You gotta alleviate it quickly.
Well, I think part of that was just the confusion of, does he really mean it, or is it actually a ploy? And nobody seemed to know that.
Yeah.
So it went on for way longer than it should have.
Maybe Robert Holmes was supposed to explain it, but as you said, he died.
So I have a question then for Kat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to reveal what you've picked for next week right now, or do we do Symphogear update first?
Symphogear update first.
Okay. Kat, hit the button. So,
for those of you who missed last week, Kat watched a whole bunch of Symphogear behind our backs and wanted to fucking strangle me. Rainiac has now gotten to that point, and we will soon find if he wants to strangle me.
Why don't we find out right now?
Yeah.
So, Series 3 then, and I will skim through this because there's just certain points I want to talk about. Series 2 ended, and I'll put a spoiler thing up, don't worry.
Yeah. Spoilers for Symphogear. This is your spoiler warning. Yeah. Symphogear Season 3 spoilers. Boop,
so,
boop. Okay.
Season 2 ended with the 6 girls working as a team to destroy the Nephilim and strand it in another dimension. And it looked like, they won, the noise were gone and all that. Of course, this is an anime, so that was never going to be the end of it.
No. Especially since they had another season coming.
So a new threat emerges, which is partially the noise and partially not.
Honestly, I really, really like this. The idea of essentially these dancers versus the singers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is really cool.
We're talking about alchemy.
Alchemy, motherfucker! No selling everything.
Yeah, this is the bit I don't like about it. That we got to like episode 7. I'm begging you, alchemy, take an L for once.
Yeah. The first half of the show is it's anime power creep. It's like I use the Power Ranger analogy where it's like when Lord Zed shows up in Power Rangers. It's like, I'm the baddest motherfucker. I can melt all your Megazords in a second. You're gonna have the power up to beat me and my monsters. And it's that for half a fucking series of Symphogear.
Yeah, and then they power up and he turns into just a big joke.
Perfect analogy, but
yeah, the first half of the show is the alchemical power of the alchemist Carol and her automaton outer scores, the dancers Kat mentioned, beating the shit out of the Symphogear users in every fucking battle.
They're dolls, yeah.
Oh, not just beating the shit out of them, but also breaking their Symphogears.
Again, the Power Rangers analogy is perfect.
Oof.
Remember that time the Tigersaur's head fell off? Because I have never forgotten that.
Damn. So yeah, they have to repair their Symphogears and infuse it with alchemical power of something called the Ignite module, which weaponizes that berserk corruption that Hibiki has used.
Yeah, and thankfully they have the help of Elf 9. I keep getting the name wrong. They have the help of Elf 9, who looks like Carol but is not Carol, is a homunculus, and it's complicated.
While Carol looks like Marissa from Toho.
Sure.
Anyway, Ryan, we're not going to cover all 9 episodes, but do you have any highlights from the 9 you watched? I mean, obviously, other than the big fucking thing.
Yeah, apart from the whole Monster of the Week thing with the dolls, there's also a lot more human drama in this one.
Yeah.
So, The three antagonists from Series 2 do get some development. Maria is basically forced to be an idol as part of her probation for nearly destroying the world. Well, Sharibe and Karika are going to the same school as the other three girls, but they're also on probation, so there's that. But it's kind of a shame that they give even more development to three characters who are already quite overdeveloped in Chris, Tsubasa, and Hibiki. And the way that they choose to develop them is that two of them have assholes for fathers.
Yeah, this season, I don't know why they did it, but it's obviously a theme. It's a theme of daughters with father issues.
They can't do it with Chris because her parents are dead, but
yay, daddy issues.
they do it with Hibiki and Tsubasa, and in very different ways, and they both suck. So
and they also are doing it with the aforementioned Carol.
Yeah, but that's played in a different way.
But it's still part of the theme. It's still father issues.
It is, and it creates a parallel, or one could say a mirror, between Hibiki and Carol.
I'm going to make one slight complaint. It's like, I get the fact that it's a TV show, writers got to eat, they want drama, they want it to last as long as possible so they can make money off of it and show off everything that they want to show off. How many of these things could just be resolved by talking to each other?
That's the whole point of Symphogear.
About talking to each
other. That's the whole point of Symphogear.
Yeah.
Moods.
It's like, all Hibiki has to do is go to her father and say, hey, you left us when we were at our most vulnerable. You suck and I hate you. That's all she has to do.
I will say, y'all haven't seen the rest of the show.
I was going to say, that might be coming.
Not yet.
That might be coming.
Oh.
So that's Hibiki's father. Ran away when she was going through her whole, you're the survivor, you're a murderer phase. And he couldn't cope with it and he walked out on her. So he's now a clerk at a store and he comes back into her life. He takes her for a meal, which she then has to pay for because he can't afford the bill.
Can I just say the way they introduce him is also kind of funny because it's like they find this destroyed shrine. Tsubasa and who was with Tsubasa at the time?
Maria, I think. No, not Maria.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. Someone's with her. Someone. I don't know.
Someone was with her, and so she's like, go warn the others, and she goes up to this guy and says, hey, can you get these kids out of here? There's a danger's about to come. And he's like, fuck that, I'm out of here. And he just bolts, and then he comes back later, and it's like, Hibiki looks at him like, Dad? It's like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, and Hibiki just runs away because she can't handle it, and who can blame her? And then Sebastian's father, she's a very different.
Yeah.
This is messed up as hell. So you find out actually that she is also related to Genjuro, their boss.
Which I think this popped up in the show earlier, but it's just like a throwaway line thing.
If it did, I never saw it. So
it's okay. I never caught it either first watch.
So she's his niece.
Yeah.
And his brother is a giant dick because he supports the Symphogear team from afar, but they have to go to his place to protect some.
To be fair, I can't blame him that much, seeing as what is behind Tsubasa.
He's less hateable than Hibiki's father at this point.
He's kind of understandable. Hibiki's father is not.
Yeah, because Tsubasa's father is in fact not Tsubasa's father.
Oh,
yeah.
God, here we go.
Yeah, her grandfather is also her father.
Yeah, he impregnated his.
So there was a whole thing like, when he died, he was expected to leave his estate to either the older brother or the younger brother. Instead, he left it to his granddaughter, who's his daughter. And oh God.
Just so I can make sure, because I'm about to have a fit here.
Mm-hmm.
It's her father is his son, right?
Yes.
It's not her mother. That's
No. Her father.
Yeah,
her father.
Yeah.
The mother married into the. Okay.
Yeah,
Just making
correct.
sure. Because if it was the other way around, we would have a problem.
Where I come from,
No, we
incest
still
is
have
not
a fucking problem.
Where I come from, incest is not
problem.
encouraged.
A worse problem.
No, but speaking of problems,
let's
we
build
have
up to
a fucking
this.
problem
So
in this episode.
in episode
this is what
6
Kat wanted to murder me over.
In episode 6, there was a great moment at the end where they actually beat the big bad. They beat Carol. Sebastian and Chris managed to double team Carol, and they beat her. And Carol kills
it's
herself.
bad a couple of episodes later, she's back because she has
but
another body.
Carol commits suicide. She burns herself to a crisp, but then she comes back in her spare body, her last spare body. And so, episode 9, she and the last remaining doll, because the others have been destroyed at this point, have broken into this top secret facility. And I'm not quite sure why.
They're trying to retrieve this thing that will, like, control all machines or something like that.
Yeah, Chris goes to stop her. She actually shoots Carol's box out of her hand in a rather good shot. But before
Not just shoot the box, she also shoots the box in half, so that's completely gone.
So that's quite good. And then Chris is like, I think Chris is like, I'm going to end this. I'm going to take out Carol now. And she's saved by John Wayne Vertonghen.
He's back. They brought him back.
Fuck you.
And you hyped this up like it was a terrible thing. I was like, it shocked me first of all because I thought, how the hell is he back?
It is a terrible thing because he's back.
But without the context of how he's back and why he's back, I can't get mad.
I don't give a shit.
That's fair.
He's still back.
That's absolutely fair.
I don't know why you want to kill me. I hate it just as much as you do, Kat. It fucking sucks.
So we'll get to the next time.
Because you got me into this show.
We'll skip to the next time in a moment, but I will just say right now, I'm definitely going to finish this series off this week. The last 4 episodes, because I am intrigued where it goes. Is he for Carol? Is he against her? Is he like a wild card against the whole world? That could be interesting. But I'm sorry, Kat, because I know you hate him.
I
hate him too. I'm
God. He's a disgusting character.
I was more bothered about the whole incest, well, not incest thing, but you know what I mean. And at least he does get to redeem himself because he's the one that manages to encourage Tsubasa to fight off the doll and destroy her. Because the doll has got this thing was like, oh, I destroy all swords, metaphorical swords included. And Tsubasa's whole business is like, I'm a blade, so she can't touch her. And bits of her clothing are breaking off, and her attacks do nothing against her. But then her not father encourages her to spread her wings and dream. I'm not a blade anymore, I'm a bird, bitch, and she cuts the doll in half.
Yeah,
and the doll is laughing maniacally while it's being cut in half, and that gave me nightmares.
Yeah.
Because I watched it last before bed. So I will watch the last 4 episodes, and then I don't know if I'll start the 4th series as well.
Maybe just finish the 3rd for Synfigure update.
Okay, and then take a break. I'm fine with that. I have other things to do.
Yeah.
Okay, Kat.
What do we got next?
Sock it to us.
What do we have next? It's the Ark.
And you're not even joking, are you?
No, it's Ultimate Foe. Let's just...
Hey!
Okay.
Peer pressure!
Alright, next time we finish the trial.
It'll be a short one.
Well,
next time on Doctor Who, peer pressure wins.
Well, we say it's a short one, but I mean, I also have to talk about the entire clusterfuck of the making of the story.
Yeah, that's true. Which I don't know about, so...
Anyway, Brainiac, where can you find us lovely people?
You can find us on Twitter at ReviewsDoctor. You can find Kat on Twitter at Concave Usurper. Frezno is at Freezing Inferno. And I'm at Brainiac the Maniac. You can also write us a lovely email, or a not so lovely email, but please make it the lovely variety, at goexterminateyourself@gmail.com. Buy Back to the Empire by Krista McTeer. And we'll see you next time for the end of the trial, the ultimate foe. Until then, bye for now. He did what?
Oh, of course he would.
Yeah, that was just in the little trivia bits at the
put that in at the end of the episode, Rain. Put that on screen.
Consider it done.
Fuck's sakes. Bye, everybody.